It is time for a new episode of Vin's Story Share. And for today, I have a friend that I met a few years ago at Podfest. Funny story, we were at a speed networking type event at Podfest and we were paired at the same table. And after that, we spoke a little more. He's been featured on my other platforms, so you will recognize him. He's a great guy with a lot to offer, great experiences. Allow me to now bring on Trent Clark. Trent, thank you for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me, Vin. So excited to be here. Always great to spend time with you and your audience, man.
Agreed. Why don't you introduce yourself a little more to our listeners who have not seen your content on my other shows?
Yeah, so I am Trent Clark. I am the CEO of Leadershipity. I am a serial entrepreneur. I'm an international speaker, speaking worldwide. Most people know me because I coached in professional baseball for over 12 years. I coached in 3 World Series before I was 33 years old. And that's kind of my kind of step is as a young man. I was really built in this championship mindset, and it was 3 state championships in high school, my sophomore, junior, senior year in baseball, to national college, junior college tennis championships, to university Division 1. We're going for, conference titles and things there, then on to professional baseball and going for world titles. So it's always been that drive for excellence. And now I just continue to pass that into business owners, organizations, teams, and love it.
You're continuing to spread your knowledge, helping others grow. That's what I love about you most. You have Leadershipity, your company, where you do just that. Let's talk a little more.
Yeah, so we're all about the idiots of leadership, right? Which I think we all want in our leaders. We want, integrity, we want accountability, we want unity, we want humanity, we want all these generosity. And when we think about all those idiots that we describe as great leaders, of course, most of us have a lot of them, and that's why they've been put in a position of leadership role. But we have a few blind spots, right? Like, that humility one might be able to blind me every once in a while, because if that pride and arrogance gets in the way, it's not great. It doesn't show up well for your team and your organization. And so there's a lot of self-awareness around, but we really just want to help organizations really develop an organization of coachable champions. And so we really need coaches that are leaders. And for a lot of people, we didn't go to school for leadership school or coaching school yet. Now I want to develop Vin on my team to be one of those top talents and develop other people. Like, oh, okay, how do you do it? Like, oh, I don't know, but I've heard a lot of stuff about it. Like, well, wait a minute. Like, we got to figure out how we're going to do that, because you do need Vin. You do need him in that top level of your organization. How do you get him there? And by the way, if I don't get you there, an all-star like you're going to leave me and go somewhere else where you're going to get developed and become champion, right?
Working with Trent teaches you how to do the little things. He brings those more to light and helps you thrive. What else have you been working on, Trent? We know about Leadershipity. What else would you like our audience to learn about you?
I love working on transitions. We coach up a lot of companies that are transitioning. In professional athletes, there's a massive transition where you stop the sport, the athletic that you've been doing, most of us, since we were 5 or 6 years old, and you transition to life and the world and a job, let alone, like, no one considers a professional player a job, right? But now you have to provide for your family and you have to transition. But how do I take all those skills I've learned and transition? So we actually work with a lot of entrepreneurs who are in a similar boat. They've spent 20, 30, 50 years sometimes developing their brand and their business, and they're going to have this one-time sale event, and they really have to maximize that event, and then they're going to transition into something else. And where am I going to take all my knowledge and utilize that? We help them, one, transition the business, and there's thousands. I think there's over 10,000 baby boomer businesses that are now going to have to be transitioned in the next like 5-10 years. And so there's a massive need and an exodus that's about to happen. So, and I tell you that today, Vin, there's so much transition going on. It's crazy right now.
Change can be scary. There's a lot of things involved. If that's something that sounds interesting to you, you may be in that spot. Reach out to Trent. You'll find out how to reach him at the end of the episode. He has a ton of value to offer. Trent, we've done a few collaborations together. I have to ask you, which
Yes.
one was your most fun?
Wow, that I think they're all fun for me, but I think every time we're talking about entrepreneurship and the state of entrepreneurship and what that means, one of the things that really probably highlighted from your show, Vin, and when I first did it on our first show, that I've taken through a bunch of interviews since, is you and I talked about what I consider something to be a little tragic in our society, which is making out entrepreneurship to be easy. Like, oh, hey, get a website. You're all going to be a unicorn Google in 5 years. Like, hey, come on, man. Like there's so much work. And you talk to anybody who owns uh, uh, a hair studio who's, constant. It's a great client list. They come back, you get that repeatability in your people, but they're grinding, they're working to put food on the table. Like, it's not easy. And I think Tim Ferriss did a big dissatisfaction to everybody when he went, hey, the 4-hour work week, it's easy. Everybody's doing it. The most entrepreneurs I know work much more and harder than any full-time employee.
I can agree with you there. The people that I keep in touch with in my circle, like you're involved there, we're grinding around the clock usually for the days we are on the clock. I want to ask you now, Trent, for your last word for everybody. We've heard about your business. I do want to shed light that you are a great father, several great kids. What do you want to end with, everybody?
Wow, I think that what I'd like to end is, I had a great conversation last night about what do we want from this life, and finding that purpose. And I think that's really important for people right now. And one of the challenges that I think is people see your platform and they think, wow, Vince survived this tragic accident. He's going out and delivering, and he's special because he's done this. And this person who's a pro athlete, or this person who runs Virgin Air, you know what? They are all just humans. This is humanity. We all bleed the same. We all put our pants on one point at a time, one leg at a time. And don't ever get intimidated by that in people. Just knowing that you have what it takes, you are the same human that they are. I saw a great show over the weekend, which was the Ben Carson show. And it was Gifted Hands. And his mother would say, hey, you can do anything else that anybody else can do, except you could do it better. Like, hey, I could work as hard as them, and then I could even do it better if I learned it right, if I learned it really well. So that applies to any person out there, no matter your station, race, age, it doesn't matter. You can do it. You have what it takes.
Well said. Everything in this life is a power mindset, believing in yourself. Trent, can you please share how everybody can find you, request your services, follow everything you got going on?
Yeah, I'd love to have, we have our website, leadershipity.com. Of course, you can find me on all the major social networks at Trent M. Clark or at Leadershipity with Twitter. We're probably most common on LinkedIn on Trent M. Clark and the Leadershipity corporate page. We have our show on YouTube and the Leadershipity YouTube channel. Our show is Winners Find a Way, which is always exciting. And that podcast is launching actually coming up because we've done a bunch of live shows. So lots of fun there. Love to, please reach out to me, always available.
You heard Trent's episode today. You watched him live. He is a great guy to reach out to, has a lot to offer. Don't be a stranger to him. Connect with him. And to everybody watching, I want to thank you for tuning in for another story on Vin's Story Share. Trent, thank you so much for joining the show again. I look forward to our next chat. And to everyone watching, we'll catch you next week on Vin's Story Share.